Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the future everyone promised you might not be the future you actually get. For years, we've been told that electric vehicles are the inevitable destiny of transportation, the clean revolution that will save the planet, and the only path forward for automakers. But what if that narrative is incomplete? What if one of the world's largest car companies, Toyota, saw something that others ignored? What if the so-called EV revolution is not as straightforward as it seems, and the trap is already being set for millions of consumers? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see why Toyota's cautious approach to electric vehicles might not just be smart, it might be the only realistic way forward. Let's start with the hype. Over the past decade, electric vehicles have been marketed as the ultimate solution to climate change and pollution. Governments have poured billions into subsidies. Automakers have rushed to announce all-electric lineups, and media headlines have painted EVs as the future. But beneath the surface, there are cracks in the story. EV adoption in the United States is slowing down. Consumers are hesitant, not just because of price, but because of infrastructure, reliability, and practicality. Charging stations are still limited. Charging times are inconvenient compared to filling up a gas tank, and the grid itself is under strain. These are not minor issues. They are fundamental barriers that make mass adoption far more complicated than the glossy ads suggest. Toyota saw this years ago. While companies like Tesla went all-in on battery electric vehicles, Toyota took a different path. They invested in hybrids, hydrogen fuel cells, and efficiency improvements across their lineup. Critics mocked them, saying they were behind the times, too conservative, unwilling to embrace the future. But now, as EV sales plateau and consumers voice frustration, Toyota's strategy looks less like hesitation and more like foresight. They understood that the transition to clean mobility would not be a sprint, it would be a marathon, and one that required multiple solutions, not just one. Think about the average American driver. They want convenience, affordability, and reliability. They don't want to plan their life around charging stations or worry about whether their car will perform in extreme weather. Hybrids, like the Prius, offer a practical middle ground. They reduce emissions significantly, they save fuel, and they don't require a massive overhaul of infrastructure. Toyota realized that hybrids could bridge the gap between the present and the future, giving consumers a realistic option while the world figures out how to scale EV technology. Now let's talk about batteries. Lithium-ion batteries are the heart of electric vehicles, but they come with challenges. Mining lithium, cobalt, and nickel is resource-intensive, environmentally damaging, and geopolitically risky. Supply chains are fragile, costs are volatile, and scaling production to meet global demand is far from simple. Toyota recognized that betting everything on one technology, especially one with such vulnerabilities, was dangerous. Instead, they diversified. They continued to refine hybrid technology. They explored hydrogen, and they invested in solid-state batteries, which promise higher efficiency and safety, but are still years away from mass production. By not putting all their eggs in one basket, Toyota avoided the trap of overpromising and under-delivering. Consumers are being told that EVs are the only future, but the reality is that the infrastructure, economics, and technology are not ready for universal adoption. Governments are setting deadlines to ban gasoline cars. Automakers are announcing electric-only lineups, but the math doesn't add up. The grid cannot handle millions of EVs charging simultaneously without massive upgrades. Rural areas lack charging stations. Apartment dwellers struggle to charge at home. And when you factor in the environmental cost of battery production, the picture becomes even more complicated. Toyota's caution wasn't resistance, it was realism. This is where the story gets interesting. While other automakers are now scrambling to adjust their strategies, Toyota is positioned to thrive. They have decades of experience with hybrids, a proven track record of reliability, and a loyal customer base. They can offer consumers choices: hybrids for those who want efficiency without compromise, hydrogen for those who want innovation, and eventually EVs when the technology and infrastructure are truly ready. Instead of forcing consumers into one box, Toyota is opening multiple doors. Now, let's pause for a moment. If you're watching this, you probably care about the future of cars, the environment, simply making smart decisions as a consumer. Here's my challenge to you. Don't just accept the headlines. Dig deeper. Ask yourself whether the EV revolution is being oversold, and whether companies like Toyota might actually be protecting consumers from disappointment. If you find this perspective valuable, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because we're going to keep exploring the truths behind the hype. And you won't want to miss what's coming next. One of the biggest misconceptions about Toyota is that they're anti-EV. That's not true. They're investing billions in EV technology, but they're doing it cautiously, ensuring that when they launch, they can deliver reliability and scale. They're not rushing to meet arbitrary deadlines or chasing headlines. They're playing the long game. And history shows that Toyota excels at the long game. Remember the Prius? When it launched, critics laughed. They said hybrids were a niche product, unnecessary, too complicated. But over time, the Prius became a symbol of smart, sustainable driving, and Toyota sold millions worldwide. They proved that patience and persistence can win. Meanwhile, look at the struggles of other automakers. Ford and GM have faced production delays, recalls, and consumer pushback. Tesla, while innovative, is facing increased competition and questions about quality. The EV market is crowded, uncertain, and volatile. Toyota's diversified approach shields them from these risks. They don't need EVs to succeed right now because they have hybrids and other technologies keeping them strong. And when EVs are truly ready, they'll enter the market with confidence. Let's also consider the global perspective. In countries with weak infrastructure, EV adoption is even harder. Charging stations are scarce, electricity grids are unstable, and affordability is a major issue. Hybrids, on the other hand, are accessible, practical, and effective. Toyota's strategy is not just about the US, it's about the world. They're building solutions that work in diverse markets, not just wealthy urban centers. That's why they remain one of the largest automakers globally, even without going all in on EVs. So what does this mean for you, the viewer? It means that the EV trap is real. It means that consumers are being pushed toward a future that isn't fully ready, while alternatives like hybrids are being overlooked. It means that Toyota's critics may have underestimated them, that their cautious approach might actually be the smartest move in the industry. And it means that when you think about your next car, you should consider not just the hype, but the reality. Here's the bottom line. Toyota was right to be cautious. They saw the challenges, they understood the risks, and they chose a path that balanced innovation with practicality. The EV revolution may still happen, but it won't happen overnight, and it won't happen without setbacks. By refusing to rush, Toyota avoided the trap, and now they're positioned to lead in a way that others may struggle to match. If you've stayed with me this far, you're exactly the kind of viewer I want to reach. You care about truth, you care about smart decisions, and you care about seeing the bigger picture. So here's my call to action. Hit that subscribe button. Share this video with someone who thinks EVs are the only future. And join me as we continue to uncover the realities behind the automotive industry. Because the story doesn't end here. In fact, it's just beginning.